Right, I'd like to welcome all participants who have joined this homeschooling education talk. And this has been organized by the Hong Kong Homeschool Association, which is spearheaded by Dr. Vivian Lai. And she has invited me to actually share with you all some thoughts about homeschooling. Okay. So let's get straight to the topic for today. And I know that on the list, there are about 60 of you from different parts of the world. I think the rest will be joining us as we progress. Can I just check that you're able to see the, what you call that, screen?
Yes, we did.
I'm just trying to reverse the. Okay, the title for today's talk is Critical Success Factors, Theories, Models, and Application for Homeschooling Success. Most of you actually know me, you're my ex-students or your current students or associate. I'm Professor Dr. Chan Chi Sing. I'm the Professor of Education for Brittany University, which have just recently changed its name to IBES. Right. Just a very quick introduction. When you look at homeschooling, this phenomena is an emerging phenomena and is on the rise. But if you look at the history of education, you find that parents or homeschooling, in fact, is the dominant form of education throughout history until the world turned upside down, where that responsibility was vested in the hands of the government, and you have then, the public school system and the loss of parental involvement, all right, in education. However, in very recent times, there is a comeback, and homeschooling has become an alternative to the public schooling system, arising from a number of issues or challenges faced by learners and the parents. And as a result, many are increasingly taking the option of undertaking homeschooling. So in the homeschooling system, obviously, the parents played a dominant role in the provision of education. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, that responsibility rests mainly on the mothers. The fathers, due to one reason or another, are not as involved, all right, as the mother in the homeschooling process. Now, that obviously is something that many of you probably, would experience. So why are they opting as an alternative to the public school system, your homeschooling? Now, there are a number of reasons that has contributed to this movement or emergence of a homeschooling. First and foremost is your flexibility. Homeschooling allows the parents to tailor their children's education to their individual needs and interests, in contrast to the public system where you have got a one-size-fits-all. They have got a very standard approach where they take, a cohort of students in a class as if they are homogeneous. They are all right, of one size. The second reason is your personalized learning, whereby homeschooling parents can actually provide a one-on-one, all right, education or instruction or teaching to the children, all right? And this again, all right, enable them to learn more efficiently. The third, the right reason is your individualization, right, whereby homeschooling allows children to learn at their own pace and in their own way, right? Again, that is the deficiency in the public school system. Such individualized kind of learning is not in existence or not being in all a practice. Today's topic, basically, we would be exploring the intersection and interplay of critical success factors that would provide insights for parents, educators, and policymakers who are interested in understanding and applying the dynamics, right, of successful homeschooling. I hope to be able to offer you a comprehensive view of the key theories, models, and applications that can contribute to positive outcomes of home education, and which will enable you to have a deeper understanding of how to create a supportive and effective, right, learning environment in the context of homeschooling. What are the takeaways from this session? What I like to call the learning outcomes. So at the end of this session, you will be able to, number one, examine 4 key theories and models relating to human cognitive learning and development. And the 4 key theories and models we'll be focusing on would be the self-determination theory, Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory, Bronfenbrenner's ecological system theory, and your Vygotsky zone of proximal development, or ZBT. Now, some of these will be familiar to those who are in the education profession, but I'll try and simplify, even though you are not professionally trained, a teacher, having a bachelor's, master's, or education degree, in education. I'll try and simplify it, for your understanding. The second learning outcome is that we want to be able to identify for each of those theories, the model, what are the key emphases, what are the contributions to education, and in particular, how it relates to your homeschooling practices. And we hope that at the end of the session, you'll be able to gain greater insights, through examples and application which will be provided to enable you to see how it can be relevant, to your homeschooling education. So let's dive into the first theory, your self-determination theory. Now, in your self-determination theory, the key, focus is on the concept of motivation. And there are different types of motivation, and most of you will be familiar with the intrinsic motivation, whereby engaging in an activity for its inherent, or internal, satisfaction, versus the extrinsic motivation, where you are engaging in an activity as a result of responding to external reward, or in some cases, the avoidance of punishments. The theory, proposes that fostering intrinsic motivation in particular will lead to more sustained and fulfilling engagement in activities such as learning and work performance. Now, when you apply this theory into education practices, and it applies to your homeschooling, creating learning environments that support students' autonomy, provide opportunities for competence, and fostering positive relationship can bring about or enhance intrinsic motivation, and in turn results in the attainment of learning outcomes and performance. There are a number of key contributors or proponents to this particular theory. All right, so I want to focus more on the practical side of things. So I wouldn't want to go into too academic, kind of orientation. But for those who are interested, you can take a look at the list of proponents of this particular theory, and you can explore, all right, more, all right, on that. I will provide the PowerPoint to you all, as well as the recorded, all right, video. So what are some of the key emphases in this particular theory? The first components that makes up this self-determination theory is, among the humankind, there are three basic needs. Humans have these inner or innate, right, needs for autonomy, competence, and relatedness to thrive and to grow. Right? We are created to grow and not die. All right, that's God's creation. So the first concept is your intrinsic motivation, whereby satisfying these needs would drive internal desires and enjoyment and fun for learning and activities. Control motivation are basically external, right, pressures, the should-dos, the rewards, and the punishment, which can provide very short-lived or short-term motivation, but would limit the internalization and satisfaction. We can provide supportive environment where we foster autonomy through choices, competence through mastery opportunities, and relatedness through your positive connection, which I would elaborate a little bit more as we move on. And another key emphasis is that with increased well-being, meeting these needs leads to higher engagement, better performance, and greater well-being. In short, the self-determination theory advocates for creating supportive environment that nurture intrinsic motivation for optimum or the maximum learning, all right, and well-being. Let me go through some examples, all right, of practices and application, how we can actually make use of this particular model. The three needs, the first one being autonomy. So to facilitate these particular needs among the learners, the first thing that you can offer them is choices. When presenting new topics or activities, provide your child with options, all right, within appropriate parameters or boundaries. Let them choose their preferred reading materials, project themes, or even the order in which they tackle, all right, your tasks. Now, very often we tend to be very autocratic. We determine, all right, to us, a very well-planned or structured approach, and we would push it to the children to be followed diligently without fail. But that's not the right approach. Secondly, to inculcate or to allow or facilitate autonomy, encourage initiative. Instead of dictating schedules and routines, involve your child in planning their learning journey, allow them to make suggestions about topics, set goals, and participating in the creation of the curriculum in which they would be going through. The third thing that you can do is respect their decisions. trust your child's judgment, all right, and allow them to make independent choices, even if they differ from yours. This builds confidence, all right, and teaches them valuable decision making, all right, skill. Very often the parents say, look here, listen to me and follow what I tell you to do. Now that is very harmful. That's very harmful. Many obviously are not, aware, of the consequences. The next area that we need to deal with will be, how to bring about competence. So here, again, there are 3 pointers for you. Set achievable goals. Break down your learning goals, or in education terms, we like to use the term learning outcomes. All right, break down your learning outcomes into smaller, manageable steps. What we like to use the word bite size, right? That's a buzzword now, micro learning, bite size, manageable, a smaller chunk, of learning. Celebrating each steps along the way builds a sense of accomplishment and motivates them, all right, to keep striving. Provide opportunities for mastery, all right. Offer activities that caters to your child's strength and interest. This allows them to experience the joy of success and build confidence in their ability. Thirdly, embrace challenges. Don't shy away from challenging tasks, but ensure they are matched to your child's current skill level. A little struggle can be motivating, promoting growth and, right, resilience. The next, all right, concept or needs is, your relatedness, and this is very, very important. The way we have been created, the way our brain, our body function is, we make connection. Learning is all about the connections that the brains, neurons, and the synapses and the dendrites, all right, what you call your neural, all right, a connection made to the environment which they have been exposed, all right, to. Okay, so here I have got a very nice diagram that shows you the different connections that, during the learning process, all right, involved. All right, so you have your neural connection, you have your human and social connection, connection with oneself. Self-reflection, is a very good way, all right, of learning and exploring. Connecting of objects to one another, connecting with the internet. These days, everybody, is all wired up and connected with the World Wide, all right, web. Connecting to the past, the present, and the future. All right, and also with the network of friends, associates that we have. So that's very contributive and has got an impact on learning and development. So build positive connection, make learning a shared experience, engage in open and supportive conversation about their progress, celebrate their achievement together, and offer encouragement, right, during challenges. Connect with your learning communities, join online forum, homeschooling groups, cooperative learning to provide opportunity for your child to interact with peers and build meaningful relationships. If there is one major criticism against homeschooling, it is, all right, the fact that some of the child have been derived of the emotional and social interaction that exists in the public school, because they are within, right, a learning community. Often a lot of homeschoolers are being isolated. They are just in the home, and there is this deficiency, all right, in terms of the social, all right, interaction. Thirdly, integrate real-world connections. Integrate real-world connections. Apply learned concept to real-life situation through field trips, volunteering projects, or community engagement activities. This foster a sense of belonging and purpose. Some additional tips to apply this into your homeschooling practice. Have individualized approach. Tailor your strategy to your child's unique needs and learning style. Each learner, each child has got its own uniqueness and differences. What works for one child might not work for another. So you cannot have one size fits all. Different folks, you need different folks. Flexibility and adaptation. Be prepared to adjust your approach as your child grows and changes. Continuously assess their needs and interests and adapt your practices accordingly. Those of you who are involved in early childhood, you would know that they are at different age. There are very specific developmental stages that they go through, from the physical dimension, the emotional, the psychological aspects. So you need to be able to track and align all of that. Have patience. Not easy, patience and encouragement. Building intrinsic motivation takes time and effort. Be patient, offer consistent support, and celebrate even very small victories. So by incorporating these principles, you can create homeschooling environment that foster your child's natural curiosity, love of learning, and lifelong success. I like to pause. I like to pause for the moment, to take any question, and then also for you to share your own experience, or to make any comment to this first theory and some of the highlights and the practices which I have actually recommended. All right, so over to you all. You can have your microphone. You can have your microphone on, your camera on. So let me stop sharing. Right. Anyone has anything to comment? Anything you want to share in terms of your own experience, or you have got probably questions that you want me to answer?
In the context of the homeschooling, where parents teach their children at home, thus limiting social interaction with other children. I'm not sure whether in Hong Kong, whether, they would combine maybe at least once a week, or once every 2 weeks, or once a month, where the children could come together, and study together in one place, making time for homeschoolers in that sense, to have some kind of interaction. I'm not sure whether that is done, because on my end, we do not operate homeschooling at home. Rather, we operate a learning center where the kids comes together, following a homeschooling system, but studying together in one place, with the help of supervisors. So in that way, they have time for games together, gardening, some kind of other activities, or maybe even once every few months, a field trip, to somewhere, to expand their learning, at one stage, the school, went to the beach, and teach the children about, making sure that the beach is clean by getting them to go and pick up the rubbish on the shore, right, as part of, doing some kind of community work. So I don't know. I'm from Malaysia, so I'm not sure how this works in the Hong Kong context. I would like to hear maybe in Hong Kong, your stories over at your end.
Anyone would like to respond from Hong Kong? Okay, maybe I will chip in. The situation in the homeschooling landscape in Hong Kong is very different from Malaysia, right? In Malaysia, homeschooling is very widespread. In fact, it has turned into a business. It has turned into the business where entrepreneurs are starting homeschooling, centers. In Malaysia, they allow, for this. In the Hong Kong context, homeschooling is not illegal, but at the same time, homeschooling is being frowned upon by the education authorities in Hong Kong. It is like a slap to the face of the public provision when you choose not to go to a public school. Of course, they would not publicly, admit, right, that. Okay, so it is not as prevalent as in Malaysia, but I think the movement is beginning to emerge. It's growing, not only among the expatriate community, because they are a huge expatriate community working and living in Hong Kong. And a lot of them do not want their children to be subjected to the Hong Kong very examination, very high pressure, education system. So they choose homeschooling. At an individual family basis, there is no center like what you have, all right, in Malaysia. But I think what Dr. Vivian Lai is trying to do is to, get all these separated, isolated individual families doing homeschooling to have an association, a network where they can combine, share the resources, and probably undertake, group activities. Children of the same age, they could probably gather at Ocean Park and have a day, to do some, activities, or go to the science museum, to have, a kind of a science study tour, so that's something in which they can do. All right, so there are many areas, all right, of development to connect, and to enhance the social dimension, which currently I can say could be lacking in the context of, the Hong Kong, situation. Maybe those in Hong Kong, you may want to comment on what I have just, shared. Anyone from Hong Kong? Martina, how about you?
Well, in fact, I'm not really in the education field, but I'm just interested in it. But I think, yes, I agreed with you. It's not easy to kick off this homeschooling in Hong Kong because of the Education Bureau curriculums, right? And I found that many of my friends, because of the existing education system, uh, the kids are suffering quite a lot. Some go very hectic, and that's why they have to leave Hong Kong. Whole family we're talking about, to someplace else that uh, under the education system is more ease for them, right? So I think I also agree with you or Dr. Lai that there's a potential market here, but I don't know how hard it will be to kick off this homeschool. I think there must be a really agenda or a format, in different levels, different kind of kids, because here in Hong Kong there are special kids as well, right? So even now go to public school at the same age for junior primaries, okay? Even they are 8 years old, let's say, because my boy is 8 years old. The point is, uh, among these 40, 30 kids in just one class, okay, there are ups and downs. Kids are quite very unique, right? And some I can tell that they are very hard to catch up what's going on. So I think homeschooling can be subtly supportive and eventually implement into the families as a soft kick-off. Maybe it's more easy. I don't know.
Okay, thank you for the response. Okay, I think we will move on. We still have got some grounds, all right, to cover. Let me get back to the next theory. I want this one. Okay, the second theory that I'm going to be sharing with you, I think a lot of you are familiar with Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory. Okay. So Howard Gardner is from the Harvard University, and he proposes that we are smart or intelligent not in one way, which was the traditional way in which we measure your IQ. You have got your IQ, test, for example. So his theory actually clashes with the traditional notion, right, that we are smart, all right, in one way. In fact, we are smart in many ways. So according to Garner, all right, it says that there are multiple distinct types of intelligence, each representing different ways individuals like to process information, all right, analyze it, retain the information, and take out or retrieve, all right, the information to demonstrate, all right, their activities. You're not smart in one way, you're smart in 7 ways. And later on, he added 8 intelligence into, all right, his multiple intelligence theory. Right, so the 8 intelligence are, first, linguistic intelligence. So here it involves a strong aptitude for language, including reading, writing, and effective communication. You have logical mathematical intelligence centers around logical reasoning, problem solving, and mathematical abilities. Spatial intelligence relate to your visual and spatial perception, allowing individuals to understand and manipulate spatial relationship. Musical intelligence encompasses a sensitivity to rhythm, rhyme, pitch, melody, and the ability to create, appreciate, and understand music. Then you have got your bodily kinesthetic intelligence involving the physical coordination, the dexterity, and a keen awareness of body movement, all right, and control. You have interpersonal intelligence, the ability to understand and interact effectively with others, demonstrating empathy and social skill. Intrapersonal intelligence, where the focus on self-awareness introspection, and a deep understanding of one's own emotions, motivation, thoughts, and goals. Last but not least, the eighth which was added is your naturalistic intelligence, whereby involve an affinity or closeness, or affiliation with understanding and connecting to nature, right, including the plant, animals, and the eco, right, system. So Garner's multiple intelligence theory suggests that individual may excel in one or more of these intelligences, and that traditional measures of intelligence, such as a standardized IQ test, may not capture the full range of human capabilities. And as a result of this, all right, it has impacted education practice, where educators are increasingly required or recommended to adopt a more diverse teaching strategy that caters to the various intelligences and learning style, all right, of a student. Now, for your information, if you hold a driving license, you are smart in many ways, because during, all right, your test, to pass the test, you will have used a number of the 8 intelligence that we are talking about. So the key points and emphasis that there are 8 intelligence, which I mentioned. Individual differences, each child has unique strengths and weaknesses across these intelligences. Holistic learning, education should address and nurture all intelligences, not just the traditional academic ones. Motivation and engagement activities should be aligned with the children's or the child's natural strength, and that can foster excitement and intrinsic motivation for learning. So here are some applications for homeschooling. So you can do the following: identify strength, observe your child's natural inclination and preferences to identify their dominant, right, intelligence. Design personalized learning, tailor your activities and curriculum to cater to their dominant and emerging intelligence. Integrate diverse activities, incorporate music, movement, art, games, outdoor exploration, and projects to engage various intelligences. Variety and choice offer options within different intelligent areas to empower the child to make choices and find their own path to learning. Real-world connection, apply the learn concept through activities that resonates with their individual strength. Some examples, all right, of application for your homeschooling. Under your spatial intelligence, involve them in drawing, sculpting, model building, map reading, and design projects. For your bodily kinesthetic, encourage physical activities, movement, sport, dance, drama, hands-on project. Visual spatial, engage them in photography, visual art, graphic design, map making, spatial puzzle, and if you are looking at note-taking, all right, you can use tools like mind mapping. Interpersonal, foster social skill through group projects, communication activities, collaboration games, and community engagement. Intrapersonal, provide opportunity for reflection, journaling, self-awareness exercises, and independent projects. Linguistic, encourage storytelling, writing, poetry, debates, and public speaking for children strong in this area. All right, so in the area of your logical mathematics, engage them in puzzle, coding, experiment, logic games, and problem-solving tasks. Musical, provide opportunity for playing instrument, singing, composing, and exploring a different, right, musical style. Additional tips, maintain balance and flexibility. While focusing on strength, don't neglect other intelligence. Intelligence are not fixed. Intelligence can be cultivated. Okay. Contents assessment: observe your child's progress and adapt your approach based on their evolving needs, all right, and interests. Celebrate diversities. Embrace the unique learning style and strength, all right, of each child. Highlight the impact of multiple environment on child development, including the family, school, and the community. Encourages parents to build connection with other homeschooling family, local resources, and online communities for support, all right, and enrichment. So by incorporating Garner's multiple intelligence theory, you can create a personalized and enriching homeschooling experience that foster your child's full potential across various intelligence domains. Right. Question and answer time. Okay. So I've introduced to you, all right, your multiple intelligence theory. All right. Any comments, any experience, any question? I think the first point that I make to you is we are smart in many ways.
Yes, we are. I did have a question, Professor.
Yeah.
I think addressed to Garner's theory. I know we all have multiple intelligence, but for kids, small kids, right? It's hard to explore what's uh, his expertise in, right?
Yeah.
So and I think it's very hard to give him try everything. And then now I know the musically the instrument, you're good at violin or piano or whatever. Time doesn't allow that, right? So as a parents, I think it's not easy for us to spot their multiple intelligence. So how can we personalize or cater a lecture for them or help them in homeschooling?
No, you see you see a lot of these capabilities, when you call it, that resides in an individual. Some of them are hidden and they are not shown unless you provide a channel to expose them. You give them an opportunity to showcase that. So if you isolate them and you're not expose them with different, kind of, exposure, you will never be able to see. And you'll be surprised as a parent sometimes when, you put them in a new situation, they say, I never know that my child can actually do this. So it is the exposure. Just even like, you're a corporate person. You're a corporate person. You have got staff. Some of them have got talents and ability, but they were not given the opportunity to showcase and demonstrate. Why? Because they never had the opportunity. Bosses make certain assumption about the capability, of their subordinates. Keep an open mind. And the key here is observation. Observation. Observe your child. And you would find many things that you don't know about that would surface as you begin, to expose them, put them into, situation that they have never before, all right, they're confronted. That it brings out, those hidden, talent, or we use the word innate, capabilities.
Thank you. I will try to observe more and my subordinates as well.
Keep an open mind. Some of us have got some preconceived ideas about our own children as to their capability. Keep an open mind. They are still growing and developing. There are a lot of areas unexplored and not demonstrated.
I got it. Okay, I'll try. Thank you.
Anybody else like to ask a question or share your experience or a comment? I'm sure you have some questions. So far, only Erwin, Ong, and Martina has participated. I'll probably like to see others. How about Iris? Are you there, Iris? You can have your microphone on. You can have your camera on. How about Kat? Are you there, Kat? You seem to be so shy. How about Peter? Peter Pat.
Hi, Professor.
Hello.
Hi,
You're one
how
of
have
my
you been?
students.
Yeah, yes, I am. Yeah, sorry, I've been quite busy recently. Okay, well, I'm not from the education background myself either, but I do have a lot of training with my colleagues and like young engineers as well. I think one of the things that I notice is encouragement is a very critical element, you know, in education, because to me, I think some of the engineers, you know, or young graduates, you know, they lack of confidence to try. That's probably because of you know, the Hong Kong's educational environment as well. You know, quite um the type of, you know, 填鴨式, okay, you know, just stuff the information in, you know, you don't have to think, you know, remember it, you know, go through the exam and there you go. So to me, these engineers are, you know, they are full of knowledges, but when you ask them to go and give it a go, they seem to be reluctant. And you have to give them a lot of encouragement, you know, to show them, to guide them through, and give them chances to trial out, you know, like and to ensure them that, you know, a trial can be failed, you know, and it's not a 100%, you know, like one go and you get a succession, you know, like you have to give them a lot of, you know, like insurance, you know, if you know what I mean, you know, and so they can get on with it, you know. So to me, I think you know, like you said, you know, homeschooling, it's good in one sense, but I think, you know, like in between homeschooling and, you know, public schooling, you know, encouragement, you know, to the student, it's a critical thing. You know, without that, you know, they, you know, even though they can obtain a lot of, you know, necessary information or knowledges they need, that they can't utilize it.
Okay, good. Thank you. I think
Thank you.
the key is this word, relationship, making connections.
Mm-mm.
I mean, as a trainer, you know that in order for you to be an effective trainer, okay, rapport, relationship with your, you know, the trainer and the trainee is one of the key. Establishing credibility, right, is another. They won't listen to you unless they know you are really good. You are the expert. You know, you are credible. You have done it before. You know,
Yes.
otherwise, why should I listen to you? You listen to friends, all right, close one rather than to a stranger. So the key to learning and development at all levels, whether at the homeschool, you know, early childcare, right up to the university, it's about relationship between the teacher, facilitator, lecturer, or what you want to call them, right, with the learners.
Right.
And obviously encouragement, building confidence, and, you know, respect and acceptance are all wrapped up, all right, in this keyword relationship. And if you're a parent doing homeschooling, okay, you don't need to be fully trained as an educator to educate your child. You have been doing that, especially mothers. All right, after your delivery, who looks after the child? You have been educating, training them, until they're able to walk and run, and all that. You already have a natural, equipment, so to say, the ability to actually educate, all right, your child. But the key, as I said, is not all about techniques. It's about relationships. That is the foundation that you need to build on. Without this foundation of connection, without this foundation of relationship, you can have all the techniques in the world. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Professor.
Okay, so we have got some who came in a bit late. Now, mind, we would move on. Welcome those who are able to join us. So I'm going to move on to the third theory. We have first covered, your self-determination theory, and then, we look at the second theory, which is on your multiple intelligence theory. And I want to move on to the third theory. All right, so I'm going to be looking at your Bronfenbrenner ecological system theory. And they are known by other names, also known as your bioecological system theory, Bronfenbrenner model, development, in context, ecological framework for human development, human ecology theory, etc., etc. They all appear under different guise under this particular theory. So what is this theory, all about? So this particular ecological system theory, the key, all right, emphasis, it examines the multifaceted influence or influences on human development within the context of various interconnected systems. Well, what do we mean by interconnected system? Okay, so here he proposed that individuals are shaped or molded by the interactions and relationships within different environmental layers or systems. Okay, and there are 5 levels of this system, right, that we are talking about, which I would, take time to explain, right, to you. So to him, the importance of understanding the dynamic interplay between the individual and their immediate and broader environment, which is divided into 5 levels, is the key to human learning and development. So the 5 levels of environment, all right, that interacts, that impact, all right, learning and development would be your microsystem, mesosystem, exosystem, macrosystem, and chronosystem. Okay, what does all these actually mean? Okay, so before that, again, for those who are more academic, inclined, you want to do further research and reading, these are some of the influential, people, relating to this particular, ecological, system theory. Wygotsky, Kurt Lewin, Dorothy, Bronfenbrenner, Dorothy Campbell, Stephen Sassy, etc. You can, read it up if you want to. Now, so the key thing about this particular theory, all right, this theory emphasizes the various layers of influence on an individual's development, ranging from the immediate microsystem to the broader, all right, macro system. So we're going to take at each one of them, all right, to help you understand, all right, this particular theory. So first, the microsystem. So the microsystem here actually is the immediate environment. The immediate environment in which the individual interacts regularly, and particularly the family. In education, the family plays a very dominant role, but unfortunately, this particular point is missed by many families or parents. They have passed on the responsibility of education to the school, and they have relegated, they have, taken themselves out of the equation, right? So the application here is in homeschooling, the micro system is predominantly the family. The family can play a much more influential, role in the education process of the children. Don't move the responsibility to the school. Okay. Then we move on to your meso system. So here, the meso system involves the interaction between components of the microsystem. So your family, all right, that's your microsystem. And within the family, you have got your father, you have got your mother, you have got your brother, you have your sisters, and etc. So in the context of homeschooling, the meso system involves the collaboration, the interaction between parents, sibling, and potentially external tutors or educational resources. And that's where your grandfather, grandmother sometimes comes in. That could either contribute or destroy what you're trying to do. In China, especially, where you have got single children, their children is 宝贝, treasure. And the grandfather and grandmother pampered them like nobody's business, as we like to use, the term, and it can actually disrupt, all right, the good things that the parents probably, are trying to do, all right, through the education process that the child is going through. Okay, so beware of your grandpa and your grandma, your mother-in-law and your father-in-law, etc. Okay, watch out, but they can be very positive as well, depending on whether they are, on the right track or not. Then we have the exosystem. So the exosystem include external environment. Early on is internal. Now we are moving to the external environment that indirectly influence the individual learner. The societal structure and system that are typically perceived as the given backdrop of one's existence. Example, government, financial system, legal system, industrial system. In Hong Kong is the education system. The education system is so strong in influence that, it play havoc to the family's life. They're all revolving around that. A lot of the things they all get or influenced directly or indirectly, as a result of the high pressure examination, performance oriented competitive system. Tuition, for example, In terms of your application, homeschooling can benefit from connection with broader, community, resources. You can draw on from out of, just the internal resources. Moving on to your macro, system. So your macro system here encompasses the broader cultural, societal, and ideological influences, on, the individual. In terms of application, provide an opportunity to tailor education to align with the family values, belief, and cultural, background. Emphasis should be placed on incorporating diverse perspectives, promoting cultural awareness, and adapting the curriculum to meet the unique, needs of each child. Last but not least, the fifth system, or levels of environment that impact learning and development is the chrono system. That's the temporal. Chrono is time, chrono, time, right? The temporal or time aspect of development, including life transitions and historical event. As an individual, as we grow from, a baby to a toddler and moving on, there are different stages of life-changing transitions, development, biologically, emotionally, psychologically, etc. Okay, and for some, parents divorce, single mothers, and all these actually, have the impact, all right, on learning. So the cumulative influences of patterns of environmental, social, historical, and all other dynamical continuity over one's lifetime can actually have, all right, an impact. Some of them are life-changing. The impact is so great, especially from the emotional, the aspect. So application homeschooling allows for flexibility in adapting to changes in a family life, such as relocation or major life, event. Emphasis should be placed on being responsive to evolving needs, adjusting the curriculum based on the developmental stages, and incorporating current events, all right, into the educational experience. Just a pointer, if you have got, a boy and a girl, all right, that you're homeschooling. A boy at age 13 and a girl at age 13, there is a big difference. Big difference. The maturity of the girls enters a much earlier phase than, the boys. What works, right, for the girls, if you apply that to the boys, it does not work because they are like water and oil. You have to make the adjustment, all right? You got to make the adjustments. Okay, so this is a very nice diagram, right, to show you about, the 5 levels. So by applying Bronfenbrenner's ecological system theory to homeschooling, parents can create a holistic and personalized educational environment that takes into account the various layers of influence on a child's development. Okay, this approach can foster a supportive, enriching, and adaptable learning environment. Start from the home, the family. That is one area that many people have not realized. They were looking outside for external, but they say charity begins at home. Education, learning begins with the family at home. And from there, you move on to other layers. Right. So once again, question and answer, sharing your experience, comments, etc. Anyone like to take up the challenge? Those who have not spoken yet.
Yes, I'm KM. Yes,
Okay.
I just share because I just I bought a 3D printer for my boys. So that because actually when I want him to have one of the some capability. So I think if the homeschooling, I think you need to also consider whether we need to have some, I call some equipment for them, for practice. And also after I bought this 3D printer for him, and then he start to learn the CAD drawings and do the 3D modeling, and also start to learn about different property for the I call the plastic who build the model, and also do the 3D painting. So I think, and also if he have some difficulty, he also needs some external
Guidance.
tutors, a
Yeah.
teacher for him, because I also I don't know how to do the 3D printing. So how to create these collections?
Okay.
Or
I'll be looking at the fourth theory that covers that. So hang
yeah.
on.
Yes, yes, and also I think the most important also is about the assessment. How to do the assessment for the homeschooling, and also I think it should be also to link up to the what is their future career, or what is their interest in the future. And also for the homeschooling, I think also, because normally when the student they need to spend some time for their time to go to the schools. If you have so many time, how they can using this time uh uh for their during their, if not going to school, how they using the time in the family, in the house. This is another question for me.
Okay.
So, okay, so this all is my comment on this.
All right. Good. Good. Anybody else have got any experience or comment or question? Looks like Irving.
I'm just curious, since the home environment is so important, to make it conducive for the children to study at home or homeschooling. Pardon my ignorance, from what I understand, the homes in Hong Kong are pretty small. Okay, maybe even crowded, right? If you have family of 4 or 5, all right. How does that impact learning, homeschooling style, in that kind of environment? Yeah. And children by nature, could get pretty bored, staying at home most of the time. All right. And if the home environment is not conducive enough, how do you address that kind of situation? I'm just wondering, because in Malaysia, probably we do not have that kind of problem. We got lots of spaces over here.
I mean, very valid point. Very valid point. I'd like to probably respond to that. Okay. The first thing is, when you talk about learning, all right, homeschooling, we should not be restricted to the learning can only take place in the home. No, the world is the classroom. The world is the classroom. And these days, with your World Wide Web, you can bring the world into your living space. You don't need to go out. You have got virtual, you have got, in fact, there are sophisticated education technology, that we use of your virtual reality, etc. That is as real as you engaging in real life, immersion, experience. Okay. Now, of course, in the context of Hong Kong, of course, you see, it's a very competitive society, and earning a living and surviving is not easy. And that was the reason why a lot of the fathers, much as they like to probably get more involved, they are the sole breadwinner of the family, and they have got to work very hard. Typically in the Hong Kong, family, both father and mother are working. They're not at home. All right. The only time where they are back, or your sibling, is when it's time to sleep. Most Hong Kong people don't stay in their home for a long period of time. They are out working, or they rather stay out because they enjoy better air and less congestion and things like that. So if you're a child, you do have almost the house to yourself, and you've got a tutor, But as I said, obviously, You have to look outside from just looking at the entire learning, journey is based at home. It can go beyond, it can go out. The world is the classroom. Anyone from Hong Kong like to respond to that? Suki, are you there, Suki? Welcome. You joined a bit late, but it's good. Are you there? You'd like to share with us your thought? How about Sylvia? Are you there, Sylvia? All right, so we have one more area to cover. So let me go back to the fourth theory. Right, now go to the fourth theory, which is your Vygotsky zone of proximal development, ZPD. So some of you in education, you're a teacher, etc. You may be familiar with this particular terminology. Right, so the key to this particular theory is the concept in developmental psychology that highlights the importance of social interaction and guidance in the learning process. Just now, Yong was asking about, guidance. The learner cannot just depend on himself or herself. They need to be coaching, they need to be mentoring, they need to be, somebody to guide them. And this is what this theory is all about. So this concept of the zone of proximal development represents the difference between what a learner can do independently and what they can achieve with assistance from a more knowledgeable peer, instructor, or expert, or what you want to call them. Okay. So again, these are some of the key people, who has contributed to this particular, theory. So if you want, you can, explore, further, on that. All right. So I'm giving you 6 key proponents. Okay. So I want to focus, as I said, on the more practical, aspect. So the key points and emphases of this particular ZPD is 3 concepts there. 1, actual development level. This refers to tasks and activities that an individual learner can perform by themselves, independently, without assistance or guidance. Then we have potential developmental level. The potential developmental level is the upper limit of a person's ability to perform tasks when guided by a more knowledgeable peer, or instructor. Okay, let me just give you an illustration. Say language proficiency. All right, language proficiency. So depending on which system that you are using, okay, there are a lot of standardized English proficiency tests that students are subjected to, all right, in order to gain recognition for entry into certain courses, universities, and for employment purposes, for immigration purposes. So the most common, most up-to-date English proficiency framework is what they call the CEFR, championed by the European Union, right? Your common framework, right, for proficiency, in the language. So there are 6 levels. The lowest level being A1, and then they move to A2, then B1, B2, C1, C2. Okay, so the student may be at B1. That's the highest level that he or she can cope. You need the tutor to bring them up to, B2 or your C1. Right, just to give you an example. So in your IT proficiency, again, you might want to classify them as beginners, intermediate, and advanced level. Okay. So the zone of proximal development, all right, is the range between the actual developmental level, all right, and the potential developmental level. It represents the sweet spot where learning is most effective and efficient with appropriate guidance and support from somebody who are more knowledgeable. Okay. So Wygotsky argued that learning occurs most optimally when individuals engage in activities within their respective ZPD. The assistance provided should be tailored to the learner's specific needs, gradually increasing or decreasing as the individual becomes more capable and independent. So in this case, collaborative activities, discussion, and guided instructions are key strategies for leveraging the ZPD. Okay, so in terms of teaching practices, all right, it underscores the importance of social interaction, a concept in teaching called scaffolding, where you build on from your foundation to higher levels. All right, scaffolding, when you're building a building, you start from the first story, you build, and then, you add on to the foundation. Okay, and the role of a knowledgeable guide in fostering connective development. So the concept has been widely embraced, right, in education psychology and remains influential in understanding how individuals acquire new skills and knowledge through social and collaborative processes. Hence, there are now, all right, these emphasis on collaborative learning. Collaborative, all right, learning. So how do we get about doing it? All right, application for your homeschooling. So how do we apply this? So there are seven steps or 7 things that you can actually do. First, you need to identify the child's current abilities. Okay, emphasis, understand the child's current skill levels and knowledge base in various subjects. There are a number of inventory, or we call them, diagnostic tests that you can actually take for various subjects to determine what level you are in. All right, you need to first know that, and then you build from that. Application, assess the child's strengths and weaknesses through observation, informal discussion, and if necessary, standardize a right test or diagnostic test to be more, all right, precise. Right? This will help determine the starting point for your instruction. Then you need to determine the zone of proximal development. Okay, recognize the range of tasks that a child can't do alone, but can accomplish with assistance. Okay, application, identify activities or subject where the child needs guidance and support. This could involve introducing slightly more challenging materials that builds upon their prior or existing knowledge and skills. Third, use your scaffolding techniques, all right, where I do, we do, and then you do. Increasingly passing on the ownership and responsibility of the learning, right, to the child. But you're going to coach them, you're going to mentor them and develop them to build up to that particular, all right, level. Okay, encourage social, right, the interaction. Now, this, as I said, is one of the key, all right, the concept relating to learning and development. Okay, engage the child in discussion groups, activities, or projects with peers or family, all right, members. Customize the learning activities, all right, tailor educational activities to the child's specific needs and ability, design learning materials and activities that align with the child's exact VD, adapt teaching methods to suit individual learning style and preferences, ensuring that the content is challenging yet attainable, achievable. Promote independence, all right, exploration, all right. So this is something, all right, which you need to really, encourage. And then assess the progress continuously, all right. Monitor and evaluate the child's, progress regularly so that you can plan and always align, the learning, all right, with the progress and the goals that you want, all right, to achieve. Okay, so we come to the conclusion. No single theory or framework is universally applicable. You can't just use one and hope to achieve results. Consider your child's unique needs, learning style, and interests when selecting an approach or approaches. Combine elements from different framework or models to create a personalized homeschooling experience. Adapt and be flexible as your child's needs and interests evolve, all right, over a period of time, coinciding with their physical and emotional, psychological development as they grow. By engaging with various theories, models, and framework, and continuously adapting to your child's unique needs, you can pave the way for a successful and enriching homeschooling journey. Right. Question and answer time. I'm conscious of the time we're trying to finish at 10:30. So we have got 3 minutes. Anyone like to share anything? Or you may want to share so far, how did the session go for you? Have you picked up anything, worthwhile? Is there anything new that you have discovered? Is it something that you already know that now you are confident that, well, I'm on the right track, So the process of learning, there are 3 stages. You learn, all right? You unlearn, and you relearn. That brings transformation. Anyone?
Doctor?
Yeah?
I would like to talk about the session today. You connecting most of the theory and then giving us better insight to homeschooling. I think that was quite enriching because we could look at how children can learn in a setting like homeschooling, connecting to all these theories like multiple intelligence. How would a mom or a more knowledgeable other be able to identify the different area the child is more capable in, and so on. So I think it was very enriching. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else like to share anything?
Yes, Professor. I would like to also share about is that it's like a wake-up call today, this morning. Okay, because I always think about my child, of course, for homeschooling, but now I'm thinking about how to put this in my working environment because I have subordinate just like my kids. Okay, they have different intelligence. Okay, intelligence that I have to explore and observe. So thank you. I think the application part is quite important. That now I have some guidelines that I can go step by step. So thank you.
Okay. Anybody else like to share anything? I mean, I only have 1.5 hours. I have to try and, capture quite a lot of things, pack it into a mini package. I mean, the world of education, learning is so big. Erwin, like to share anything? Is it a worthwhile Saturday morning to spend?
Well, everything is new to me. It's the first time I'm exposed to all these different, concepts of education and learning. Been ages since I attended a lecture, and of course, I picked up quite a lot of few things, about learning. Let's see, since I don't do any homeschooling at home, maybe I can fall back on my notes if my granddaughter, wants to go that direction, or my daughter-in-law wants to, consider, homeschooling, the child. I don't know. Yeah, because my experience is working with people that runs a homeschool learning center. So the concept is pretty different from what our friends in Hong Kong are doing. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, in Malaysia, the homeschool learning center is more out of practical reasons, because, like you say, most parents today, most of them work. All right, so to homeschool a child at home, right, is not possible. But fitting them into the public education system is not an answer for them as well, because their children has got special needs. Special needs not in the sense that they are in any way incapacitated, just that they don't like the pressure of studying in a public school, with lots of the kind of homework and tests and exams and pressure, and bullying, in the school, and so forth. So the homeschool learning center in Malaysia, right, provides a safer environment, where they can learn at their own pace. Right. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Erwin. Oh, Dr. N, just logging in, we are finishing. Okay, I think I'm conscious of the time. We are committed to finishing within the time period.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope that it is time worth spending. Okay, I will get the session, the recorded session. I would convert it into a YouTube link, which I will send to Dr. Vivian Lai to be circulated to you. The PowerPoint that I have, I will also share. And actually, I did not show you the resources part. I've given a number of resources that you can actually go and get in terms of curriculum, all kinds of thing is in the PowerPoint. Okay, so you can have that. So once again, thank you so much for participating, in this talk. I hope it has been beneficial. There are some takeaways that would benefit you, whether you're a trainer, you are a lecturer, you are managing an educational institution where you have responsibility to mentor and coach, your teachers, etc. Okay. So, Dr. N, we started at 9 actually. So
Sorry.
we're just finished, but you won't be missing much in a sense because we got it recorded. All right, a link will be sent to you. All right, so you can still follow that. Okay, so we will end the session. Thank you, for participating, and wish you all the best as you either continue with your homeschooling. You may consider making a very important decision in that direction. Okay, so best wishes. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.